This is Tuesday, June 28th. There are 21 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2022. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
VANUHTEE, go. Oh my god, I love Live Journal, and my Live Journal loves me. Current mood is hyperactive, current music, refuse 73. I love the color scheme, it's pink and purple.
Hello all, I'm your host, James Riley, and joining me on the podcast, as always, Carrie Dixon.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us.
And our special guest from IO9 and Gizmodo, Germain Lussier.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be back. Talking Comic-Con again. I can't believe it. Comic-Con.
No, it's only been 3 years.
It's wild. It's wild. What a and the fastest 3 years ever, right? Like that, gone. Yeah. Just everything.
Yeah.
So this is week 8 of the podcast, and we're drinking age days away from Comic-Con. We'll take your comments and questions during the show. You can tweet us at SD_comic_con. You can use the hashtag SDConCast, and we'll be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you wish to comment there. But first up, let's talk to Germain and Carrie. Why don't you get us started?
So Germain, for anybody who doesn't know, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Germain Lussier. I currently work for IO9, which is part of Gizmodo. I worked there for about 6 years. Before that, I worked for Slash Film, another popular blog, and I've been going to Comic-Con for about 12 to 15 years at this point, covering it for work, probably about 10 of those. So, I know the ins and outs of Hall H, Ballroom 20, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, all these things. And I always, at this time of year, get really excited about what movies we're going to see in Hall H and at Comic-Con. And in a few years back, you guys were kind enough to have me on to talk about it, and we've been keeping it a running tradition, and I look forward to it every year.
It's fun. Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is one of our favorite parts too. It's just like putting together what the puzzle of Comic-Con is going to be. Yeah. That's half the fun.
So we're going to talk about the biggest news in the last week, probably, which was Marvel is back at Comic-Con. Do you think we're going to get like all out like 2019 phase 5, throw everything and see what sticks? Or are we going to get like Black Panther and a couple teases and kind of like really promote Disney Plus maybe?
It's a great question, and that we won't know until Saturday night for sure. My guess is I think it's going to be kind of 75-25. Just the way it's going. In the last couple of weeks, obviously, Kevin Feige did an interview saying like we'll know more about the future coming up. Obviously, he was teasing Comic-Con, which is why they got the news out there early so people would know. They do have D23 a couple weeks later, but in the past, that's not been an issue. They drop a bunch of big news at Comic-Con, and the D23 audience isn't really there for news like Comic-Con is. Comic-Con is a whole different breed of fan. D23, they want to see the footage, they want to see the stars come out and wave, and that's really more of that, the Disney audience than the Comic-Con audience. So, we're definitely going to get, Black Panther, which is the next film, Ant-Man, which is the one after that, and Guardians 3, which are the next 3 films through May, which is before next Comic-Con. James Gunn has already tweeted about it a little bit.
Yep, I saw that.
Yep, and you guys posted about the She-Hulk banners that are there. That was our first big kind of giveaway that they were going to be there. So they're not going to ignore Disney Plus, but Disney Plus is kind of they're reaching the end of almost phase 1 or 2 of Disney Plus at this point. Miss Marvel's got like 2 more weeks. And then She-Hulk starts in August, and I guess they're filming Loki too, or about to start that. So maybe something on that, but I don't think we're going to get a lot of Disney Plus just because they don't have as much, at least that we know about. I mean, like there's the Guardians holiday special. The rumor is they are going to start shooting Blade soon, so maybe that will be something we get a little bit of. They obviously that's the only thing that they announced at the last Comic-Con that really hasn't happened yet.
Right.
That was their big finale at last Comic-Con, so I think that it would be kind of appropriate to bring out some of the cast, and even if they haven't started shooting or anything, they could talk about that. The movie after Guardians, which would actually be after next Comic-Con, is the Marvels, which is the Captain Marvel sequel with Miss Marvel. Yep. And I'm pretty sure they've been filming that. I don't know 100%.
I think they have.
Yeah, so I think they could definitely show something there. And I'd also be very surprised if we didn't get any like Deadpool 3 news. That's just been something that they've been writing for a long time and teasing. And we have a new director and Sean Levy a couple months back. So I would be surprised if we didn't hear that. But I think, and then of course there's all these possibilities beyond that, right? Of like Thunderbolts and New Captain America and Daredevil is going to be coming to Disney Plus. But my guess would be we're going to get the 3 or 4 big things that we know are coming, like I said. And then maybe we'll get a kind of, whiz bang, here are the next couple things. And my guess is, and I think they have to do it now, is that I think they have to tell us what the end of this phase is. And if you're a lot of Marvel fans now, they're expecting everything to be Avengers Endgame, which what a lot of people forget is there was Avengers, then Age of Ultron, then Infinity War, then Endgame. So I think right now we're looking at our Avengers 1. Yeah. And I think that might be their big finales. Tell us what Avengers 1 is going to be, even just the title and maybe like a 2025 release date or something. I think that would be kind of how they go out. And that's just speculative. I don't know anything. I just know they're going to be there, just come from experience and kind of timing wise. It seems like let's show us the footage that we have. Let's tease you with a couple new things and give you one very far thing. That's kind of been the outline in previous years. I think, and so yeah, obviously Marvel is the big thing, but but one big difference now is that they've had a lot more time to think about Fox properties. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think we're going to hear maybe something Fantastic Four. I'm not sure. I think they're still waiting on X-Men. But the question is Marvel the only Disney thing there? Because I've heard rumblings that the Fox contingent is going to be bringing something for Prey, which is the new Predator movie. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a Hall H panel or if that's an activation or if it's a floor. I don't know, but I've heard Prey is going to have a presence at Comic-Con. And if Prey has a presence at Comic-Con, which is kind of like a cool Fox genre movie that's coming out, how is Avatar 2 not a part of Comic? Right?
Exactly.
Like, is Avatar 2 a panel? Is it something like that? This Comic-Con is where Avatar began, mm-hmm. in like 2018 or whatever it was. So I'm not surprised if Avatar 2 wasn't there, but disappointed if we didn't have some Avatar 2 stuff. So I think, obviously Disney has their own convention a month later. So we're not going to get any like Disney stuff, Little Mermaid or any of the other things that they have cooking. We'll get that, coming up at D23, but definitely Marvel and maybe those 2 big genre titles is what I'm thinking.
Well, let me ask you another question about Disney. So obviously for Star Wars, we're not going to get any movies because those are all a million years off. But for the TV shows, do you think there's any possibility that they bring any of those?
Not to Comic-Con. I think because we had Celebration a couple weeks ago and D23 after. D23, as I'm sure you guys reported, they have one of their panels is Lucasfilm Marvel. So I mean so they're breaking off their 2 biggest properties from the main films. So they're gonna, I think, and I wouldn't even be surprised there. I mean, maybe they announced a new movie. The movie situation in Star Wars right now, it's just they had said it was going to be 2023 Star Wars, 24. Oh no. Avatar Star Wars, basically starting this year with Avatar and then Star Wars, then Avatar Star Wars. And we are definitely getting Avatar this year. We're supposed to get Star Wars next year, but the movie that's still on Disney's schedule is not filming or has not been cast as far as we know, Rogue Squadron. And today, as we're recording this, Sony announced that that's when they're going to release the new Ghostbusters. And I don't think they'd release the new Ghostbusters 2 days before a new Star Wars movie. It just seems like, so I think Sony's like, yeah, that's not happening. Even though I think maybe a Star Trek is on that same date too. Who knows? But so I don't think we're gonna get anything Star Wars at Comic-Con. I think Star Wars had its moment of celebration, a little bit of a break, and then we'll get a little bit at D23. I still don't even think they'll do much at D23. I mean, we might see some more Ahsoka footage. They might, they showed some Ahsoka and some Mandalorian 3 at Celebration, which still hasn't been released officially. So I think you'd get that again. And maybe like an Obi-Wan Kenobi 2 announcement at D23, maybe if that's something people want. So I don't think Star Wars and Comic-Con this year are going to be a thing.
Well, let's shift gears then to the other side of comics, to DC. So Warner Brothers, obviously in their press release, said stay tuned for more from Warner Brothers Pictures. Some outlets have said they're deciding which DC films to bring. Some said they're not bringing any DC films. What's your opinion?
Right. Before that press release came out, I heard that Warner Brothers was not coming, or at least was not sure. That was what I heard. And then when I saw that press release, I was like, oh, they're not coming. And then, yeah, there's that one sentence. So I think they're going to be there. I think they're going to have a panel. I don't think it will be just, again, this is
speculation.
Just speculation. I don't think it'll be like the 2.5 hour mega panel like they usually have in years past. I think you got to, and like I believe it was the Hollywood Reporter reported that they're going to bring, they want to bring at least Black Adam and Shazam, but nothing from next year because it's not ready. And it's like, well, they usually show stuff like 2 years out at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So that seems like crap. That seems like we're still not sure what we want to do with the Flash yet, or Aquaman, because we always think about the Flash now and Ezra Miller, but Aquaman has the Amber Heard situation, which probably isn't as big a deal as everybody's made it out to be. But I think they don't want that to overshadow.
It's awkward timing.
Yeah, they don't want that to overshadow the movies they have coming out first. I noticed recently, and The Rock just started filming something in Hawaii. So I don't see how you don't bring him when he has 2 movies. He has Super Pets coming out the week after, and then Black Adam.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a Warner Brothers panel, or maybe just a Dwayne Johnson panel. And maybe, who knows? And then Shazam has tie-ins with Black Adam in their comic book history. I don't think the films will cross over just yet. I think eventually, but Shazam being that next movie, early next year, I believe. I think it would be a Black Adam, Shazam, Super Pets kind of like mini DC Warner Brothers panel is my kind of gut feeling. And maybe they could tease some other stuff. Like I think the Comic-Con audience would eat up some sort of like some Harry Styles. Don't worry, darling.
They've got Salem's Lot as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they showed a bunch of footage, like a full song from Wonka at CinemaCon a couple months back. They could show that.
Give us Barbie.
But Barbie, of course, Barbie. The only thing with Barbie is obviously the shooting. We're getting these great photos and stuff. Is that it's directed by Greta Gerwig, and I love Greta Gerwig, but I don't think she's like a Comic-Con.
No,
so I don't
either.
I think she's putting together, Lady Bird to Barbie in her own space, and we'll get it when it's out and ready, and that'll be cool.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think, like I said, Warner's always has a ton of genre stuff.
Yeah.
Like Dune 2 probably won't be filming by Comic-Con, but it is gearing up. But I think they will probably focus on this year DC stuff. And who knows, maybe they'll show at the end a little Flash, a little Aquaman. Like, again, CinemaCon 2 months ago, I saw brand new stuff from the Flash, brand new stuff from Aquaman that hasn't been shown yet. They could easily show that at Comic-Con. But again, a Comic-Con audience is different from a CinemaCon audience, which is a business oriented. And they don't want the headlines to be Ezra Miller not in Flash footage. They want the headlines to be Dwayne Johnson smells what the Rock is cooking, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking in terms of Warner Bros.
That all makes sense to me. So let's talk Paramount. So you and I talked about this, but when the Hollywood Reporter article first came out, they said Paramount and Universal weren't coming, but then they changed their article and they said they took Paramount off that list. So what have you heard?
Right. I've heard that Paramount's going to be there. So I think that's probably why they took it off. What specifically that's going to be, a couple of big things stand out on their upcoming slate. The new Transformers movie that's in summer next year, and that might be too far out, even though that's done filming. They could make Star Trek news. We're gearing up on this third Star Trek. The odds-on favorite though is Dungeons and Dragons. They've already shown some footage and stuff, or brief footage, I believe. Well, I saw footage at CinemaCon. That's one thing. Then they did the title treatment at a convention a couple of weeks back, right? That's when they announced the title or something, the full title. So I think we're going to get some Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I mean, it seems like the perfect time.
Yes, literally, Comic-Con is the audience for that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that seems like the odds-on favorite. But I don't know if is that Hall H? Is that Activation? Is it both?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, because again, you guys have already talked about this, I think, or maybe will in the next ones. The TV is so heavy every single year. This year in particular is crazy that I don't know what kind of Hall H time is going to be. But yeah, in terms of Paramount, I'm thinking maybe Star Trek, maybe this, but probably Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, and they'll be there. Yeah,
that makes sense. So what do you think the odds are on Lionsgate? We do know that Collider has a panel with the director of John Wick.
Yes. Yeah, I think, and the other thing I was looking at in Lionsgate is they've been casting up this new Hunger Games movie, right? But it doesn't come out for a long time. They haven't started filming. I think that's a next Comic-Con thing. Obviously, Hunger Games and Comic-Con have a big relationship, so I think that's a thing they're probably looking at for next year. So I don't think Lionsgate is going to be there, but I do know, like you said, the director of John Wick 4, is there for on Steve from Collider's panel with Tim Miller and Andrew Stanton. Now, Tim Miller and Andrew Stanton don't have anything new coming up.
Right.
They have awesome movies in the past, and Andrew Stanton recently was just working on Obi-Wan and all this other stuff, Lightyear. So knowing Steve from Collider a little bit, like I do, I think if he doesn't get John Wick footage, he might verbally berate someone in Hall H with tastefully. But I would be surprised if they don't, if he's not sitting there in Hall H with some John Wick 4 footage, which again, they've already played some at CinemaCon. So it's not like they don't have a sizzle laying around. I missed it because that was the last day, and you always miss the last day if you're traveling. So yeah, I don't think Lionsgate's gonna have a big panel, but I think if you're a fan of John Wick, you're probably gonna want to catch that Collider panel.
What do we think the odds are on Sony, Columbia, and all their offshoots?
I haven't heard a peep. They haven't been there in a while, right? Have they really been there in a long time? I don't like.
James, do you know the last time they were there?
For who?
Sony.
Jeez, it's been a while.
Yeah, like I don't think what my I haven't heard anything. I looked into it. I couldn't hear, and I didn't hear anything. But what I have a gut feeling that they'll be there in some form for the new Spider-Man re-release. They got this director's cut coming out of No Way Home. And it would be wild to me if like 2 months before that comes out in like September, did I write this down? Comes out September 2nd. They're re-releasing No Way Home in theaters with extra footage. How do you not have a panel or a booth playing deleted scenes or something to let people know? Because I don't think everybody knows. I mean, the news came out and that's the biggest movie of the last 5 years. Well, not 5 years, 3 years. And so I think it would be crazy if they didn't have some sort of presence for Spider-Man. I don't think that's going to mean like Tom Holland shows up or anything like that.
Right.
But maybe, but it feels like a booth to me. But again, I have not heard anything specific.
You think they'd bring Across the Spider-Verse? Maybe some footage from that?
I mean, there is footage from that. I saw footage at CinemaCon. They just had the animation festival in Europe where they played some footage. I think it's still, that's a next summer thing, I believe, or is it March? I think it's March. Maybe. I mean, they could do like a Sony animation panel. I think Luck or something. That's an Apple Plus movie, Sony animation, something like that. But it feels like a stretch to me. I think that's a movie. I think that's a movie that would obviously slay Comic-Con. If you showed the footage that I saw, which is the first 10 minutes of that movie, the place would go nuts. But I think it's the movie that also doesn't need that. It doesn't need that hype. It doesn't need any kind of unwarranted eyes on it until it's 100% ready, because everybody is so ready. But it would be a really cool addition, and I wouldn't completely ignore it, especially if they do have a panel. It's like Spider-Man centric.
Yeah, and I mean, they have other options as well, like Bullet Train, Kraven the Hunter, all that. But yeah, I mean, we would love to see any.
Madam Web it has been filming. I know they're still casting it up, but they showed brief snippets from all of those things. They just announced the new Ghostbusters, like I just mentioned. There's plenty of things that Sony could do, but Sony really feels like it hasn't been part of their strategy in a long, long time. I mean, I feel like maybe I'm sure since then, but I remember Spider-Man 3 making a big splash at Comic-Con in 2005 or whatever it was, a long time ago. But in the last couple of years, it really hasn't been part of that strategy, and I don't see it changing, but I would be very happy to be wrong.
The last year Sony went, by the way, was 2018, which I thought I remembered because Venom was there. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad. That's semi-recently now.
Yeah, and they actually brought the first Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse that year. So.
I don't remember.
Who knows?
I don't remember that in the slightest. No.
I mean, I had to look it up. So.
There you go. Man.
That was only 4 years ago.
Yeah. It's like it never happened. And maybe I wasn't there. I don't know.
Who knows?
No, I was at Comic-Con.
You were doing something. So, I mean, I think at this point we can assume no Universal, again, considering THR basically announced that.
Yes. Yeah, no, Universal will not be there from what I've heard. Probably because they're so embarrassed by how bad Jurassic World Dominion is. But maybe that's just me.
And then to answer a quick question in the chat, Xavier Behavior asked, any news on Note movie that comes out that week? I mean, it comes out the Thursday of Comic-Con. Like, I mean, they don't need to do anything at that point. It's out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people have seen, they're already doing, they're already planning like screenings and stuff, not at Comic-Con, like around the country. So
like literally on Thursday, it's out normally.
Right.
So
they won't do anything too close. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. What do you think the odds are on Netflix?
I mean, it's hard because they have so many things, right? They have so many things. Like, and so like, could we have Shadow and Bone? Could we have Stranger Things? All these things would be great, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, I imagine we haven't heard anything specifically. Maybe you can tell me about AMC, right? Do we know if Walking Dead is going to be back? I would assume so.
I assume so, but no, I have not actually heard anything. And in fact, the House of the Dragon thing that got announced today, we're kind of like, we think that may be in the offsite location that AMC usually is.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Which would be weird, especially because those last episodes are coming up, right? The last episodes of Walking Dead. So I bring that up just because, to get back to the question, assuming AMC is going to be there, we know Amazon's going to have a huge presence with Lord of the Rings. We know that HBO is going to have this huge presence, House of the Dragon. I just don't see anything Netflixy that, like, if Stranger Things was coming out a month after, but Stranger Things will be done this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, and season 5 is a long way off. So, I mean, they have things they could do. You know, they have like these anime live action shows and all these things. They could talk about Avatar: Last Airbender. Like, but again, are they wasting the money to do it right now when there's so many other things competing? And also, it's kind of an uncertain Comic-Con. You know, like how crazy it's going to be compared to, you know, the old times. So I don't think so. But again, this is just speculation.
So again, we don't know this for sure, but we did see a job listing for an activation at Comic-Con that included a roller rink and slushies. And we're like, that sure sounds like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
We are cautiously hopeful. Yeah,
that would be cool. I mean, I think a booth would make sense, you know, try to get subscriptions and hand out posters and get people to watch.
Yeah, and they do have a booth.
Okay, yeah, you know, get people to watch movies that, you know, they haven't seen, that they probably don't even know are on Netflix. That makes sense. And an activation, sure. But I think for me, I'm always like, are we going to find out news about the next big thing they have? And you know, and you know, I just they've always kind of done it though. They've kind of become a Comic-Con mainstay in the last couple of years.
Kind of. I mean, they don't really go like full out, in my opinion, the way that like some of these studios do. But like they've had a handful of things the last couple of years. Yeah,
and in the last 2 years, especially, you know, so many people have picked up so many shows during quarantine and COVID that, you know, like there's a lot of the almost brand new fandoms that kind of were born on these Netflix shows. So,
do you think they'd ever bring one of their movies that they're releasing on, you know, on theaters in limited release, and like, I mean, the Gray Man or something like that?
Yeah, but the Gray Man comes out, I believe, the week after. So I think that would be kind of tight. It actually comes out in theaters on the 15th. So it'll already be in theaters.
Okay.
So again, that might be like a booth thing. I think, again, if that was a movie that they had a month after that, maybe they would do it. A huge cast, obviously, and all these things, you know. But I think the timing on the Gray Man specifically makes it hard, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head that they have major coming out like right around then. I mean, they definitely have big movies coming out in the next couple months. There's like this Adam Sandler Goes to Space with Carey Mulligan, and she's like a robot spider.
That is not the Netflix that we want, but yeah.
Right. No, but it's actually a series. I forget what it's called. I could look it up. But yeah, there are options, but nothing that jumps to mind, like a Gray Man. You got the Russos, you got Evans and Gosling. These are big names. So, but no.
So even though this is the movie podcast, we have a ton of people in the chat asking, what do you think the odds are on Apple TV?
I mean, it's a good question. They didn't exist. Did they exist the last time there was a Comic-Con?
No.
Yeah, Apple TV, from what in my experience, I don't know about them at Comic-Con. I mean, because they don't have any track record, but just dealing with their shows and seeing how they've been handling the publicity for their shows, it's much more understated how than a lot of other studios and streamers handle things. Like when it comes to like some of the Netflix stuff and some of the Amazon stuff, I'm bombarded by press releases and pitches and all these kinds of things. Apple TV isn't that. Apple TV is slow and steady.
Yeah.
They're great to work with, and the shows have generally been really great. I love Severance, I love Ted Lasso, I love all this stuff. But yeah, I don't know if Comic-Con is part of their strategy yet, or if it would make sense for them. So I would probably say no. But again, I think it's also there's such a huge amount of genre content that's coming out in the next 6 months that we know already is going to be there, that like if Apple TV shows up, you know, it feels like maybe it's a waste. Unless, I guess, again, I didn't even look into it. Do they have like a major genre show coming out again? Like right now, I know they have Foundation and they have all these other shows that for All Mankind that are very Comic-Con friendly, but I think they're all like, I don't think there's anything coming.
For All Mankind is on right now. Mythic Quest will be starting up here pretty soon. I mean, Severance was one of the best things on TV this year.
Yeah, for sure. Right. I mean, I get could they do a Severance panel and talk about what season 2 is? Sure. Could we get the tease of the next season of Mythic Quest? Sure. Even though I'm disappointed F. Murray Abraham isn't going to be a part of it. I do love that show. I don't, like I said, just from knowing kind of how they handle their publicity in a very understated manner, I don't see them as a big Comic-Con threat. But I'd be very happy to be wrong, because I'd kill to see panels on a couple of the shows. Yeah,
absolutely.
Did you see them trying to maybe copy Warner Brothers with the HBO stuff, like they did for Game of Thrones, that really limited offsite for Westworld a few years ago, where they do something more prestige?
Do they? But is there a property that warrants it? I mean, like Severance maybe, but like, what are we gonna like strand around an office and like mess with numbers? Like, you know, doesn't sound like.
I mean, I would go to that offsite.
I might too. As long as I got like a cool mug on the way out or something, you know, all the Lumen merch possible.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, but I think however much that costs, right? Is that gonna push people to go see the show? That's the other thing too. Like, is that Apple TV? Are they pushing for people to watch a second season or to go back to the first season? I'm not exactly sure of the strategy. You know, I think if Ted Lasso was closer to coming up with this next season, maybe you'd have something, because I feel like that's a very broad audience show that a Comic-Con audience, every kind of audience loves. So maybe they would throw some money to that because it's a proven hit. But yeah. But I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of down on Apple TV coming to Comic-Con. I don't see it happening.
Okay. Well, to shift gears here, we have been getting so many questions about how late things are being announced this year compared to a normal year. Is that something that you've noticed just in general, like with studios and the world?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean. But I feel like you guys know you kind of don't know for sure until that schedule comes out, whatever, 2 weeks before or something like that. You know, your site has a great list of like the panels that we know are coming. But yeah, you never quite, some of those could get canceled. Yeah. I kind of find that this year, in terms of movies, it's always pretty late. Like I said, I spoke to some people like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, what do you think about Warner Brothers? And they're like, yeah, I don't think so. And then the next week, press release, they're going to like suggesting they're going to be there. And so I think maybe some of these places have like time booked off, or they're talking to Comic-Con like, oh, we don't know how much money they want to spend. Maybe they're looking at, you know, I mean, I know Comic-Con is sold out, but I just got this weird instinct like it's not going to feel like that this year.
That's exactly what we think as well. Like, right? I mean, it's still going to be crowded because it's Comic-Con, but I think it's just going to feel like less somehow.
Yeah, like even if it's like 80% of what it usually is, it feels like that would be a relief. And I think studios might be looking at that. Do they want to spend $100,000 on a panel, on the travel, get all the talent there and all those things? So they're probably still weighing that in a lot of cases, you know? Like Warner Brothers is a great example, because you might want to bring Black Adam, but you can't bring Black Adam unless you have Dwayne Johnson, and you can't bring Dwayne Johnson unless you bring 700 people, which is his entourage. Like, he travels with an army of people to do all his things because he's, the most
He's The Rock,
bankable,
yeah.
big is The Rock.
He can.
Yeah, he's the most, like, one of the most famous people on the planet, the biggest box office star in the world. So, that's, and then you got to pay for those people. Like, he pays them, but then Warner Brothers has to pay for everybody too. So, like, it's not like a small expenditure to get these people there. And I think, so that's why I think they're probably like, ooh, they probably still haven't figured it out, but they might. So that might be, if we know, if Saturday at Comic-Con starts at noon instead of 10, we'll know that Warner Brothers tried, but didn't pull the final trigger. But yeah, things are definitely late, definitely being late. And I think, it's just, and that's always weird to me. Like, why, what's the secret? Why the secret when you're not going to do, unless you're going to do like with Marvel, the way the Marvel chose to do it was kind of weird, where they picked the question during a press conference for Thor, which was fun, but also like, that was a weird way to answer it. Unless you're going to do something kind of like that, where you have like a plan, otherwise you get like somebody at Comic-Con presses a button on like Thursday afternoon, and then you find out that Sony has Spider-Man there. Like,
completely.
It's so anticlimactic. So why sugarcoat it? Why hide it?
Well, and the worst is like when the schedule does come out and it's like the studio will be there and it's TBA at a couple of years. I mean, we always go back to Interstellar, but like they literally never changed it from TBA. It was just like, what is this battle? Let's find out.
It's Ninja Turtles and Interstellar, and here's Christopher Nolan. And you're like, what? Christopher Nolan's here. Why didn't you bring the Batman trailer a couple of years ago, buddy? That was still just. I talked about this recently. Like whatever year it was, 2014 or something, with big Warner Brothers panel, and everybody wanted to see a trailer for Batman Begins, and he was like, "Well, we're not ready to show anything yet," and a little video message, and then they released the trailer the next week online, and everybody was like, "What the heck?" It was the wrong way to do it. It ended up okay for those movies, but still.
Yes.
Nolan is a known Comic-Con hater, I think he's
I don't know if he's very kind of adverse to fandoms and online, all these kinds of things. I think he probably realizes, I don't know if he realizes how much of his fandom is actually from these people, me, us, people who are online a lot and love his movies, like, and for him to be like so adverse to it is kind of weird. But I think he's just like old school kind of guy. So I mean, he's got a movie coming out next year, but it's about the guy who made the atom bomb, so I don't think that's going to be a Comic-Con thing. It's also a Universal movie, and like I said, I don't believe they're going to be there.
Yeah. I actually want to go back to WB. What is your opinion on them not having a booth at all this year?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? I don't. It's weird. It's hard for me to answer that question because my Comic-Con experience, especially in the last like 10 years, is 90% panels, 10% floor. I very rarely get on the floor. And usually if I do, it's on Sunday and I'm just kind of like buzzing down the aisles, looking for maybe one toy or maybe it's usually preview night also to take a couple photos. But so I see that the Warner Brothers booth is always busy, and I see it, and they usually have great, cool costumes and stuff. So I always make a point of stopping by over there. So it is kind of strange for them to just get rid of that because it seemed like it was a tradition. It would be like if Funko wasn't in the corner and Sideshow wasn't in the middle. Like, what is Comic-Con without it? So I don't know why. I have no kind of idea why you wouldn't do it. It's a new company. New CEO, new people, all top down, and all those levels. Then probably look at what that gets them. And it's probably like we spend a lot of money on free bags. I think they're still doing the bags. But like they
are, but there's only 2, and it's
Oh my god, people are gonna go crazy with just 2. You need like 18 bags.
Yeah, and they're comics and not TV shows. Which don't get me wrong, we love comics too. But people are definitely gonna be disappointed by that. Yeah.
Where's my flash bag? But but I mean I think that it probably just comes down to like what does the booth get you when you're Warner Brothers? If you're not selling anything, you're just kind of like bringing props, how expensive it is. And maybe with the new executives, they kind of just looked at it as a losing situation.
Yeah,
it's gonna be weird though. It's gonna be weird. Like that's a huge void of cool stuff that was on the floor every single year.
It's for sure going to be weird. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with new owners and cost cutting and all of that. But I mean, I also wonder if, in this age of COVID, one of the things that people love the most about WB's booth was they would have signings there and it would be like a big spectacle. So maybe they just didn't want their talent around that many people.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, there's so many good but they have so many good costumes and stuff they can show. It's like the Black Adam costume,
I
the
know.
Shazam costumes, and then you could do that without having a panel, and then you get your thing. So maybe that is also the flip side of there are suggesting that there will be something.
Yeah, could be. All right. Well, James, I know we have some reader questions, but I think we can answer these when he's off, unless you think otherwise.
No, I think that's about it.
All right. All right. Well, Germain, thank you so much as always for doing this. This is always a blast.
No, so much fun. I'm sorry I don't have more news for you guys.
No,
more
this
specifics.
was great. This was great. No, we appreciate it. We appreciate you.
No, thanks. Like I said, I'm glad that Marvel's going to be back, and I'm hoping for some fun stuff, and it's going to be some fun to have some new shows, and it's just glad to be back at Comic-Con, and I hope you guys and the listeners everybody have a great time, and I'll be around, mostly in Hall H, but I'll be around.
Well, before you go, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you online?
Thank you so much. Germain Lussier, you find my work on IO9, which is part of Gizmodo.com, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Germain Lussier, my full name. That's it. Thank you so much, you guys. Good luck with the rest of the show, and have a great last couple weeks before Comic-Con.
Awesome.
Right.
Thanks, Germain.
Thanks, Germain.
Later, guys.
All right.
That was fun. We learned some things. Paramount's going, which we kind of suspected based off THR removing that from their little list.
And a little notification down at the bottom. We have edited this article since it was posted.
Yes.
It just disappears.
Yes. And it sounds like if you're a fan of John Wick, definitely head to that Collider panel. And it sounds like we're getting some Fox. So that's fun.
Yes. So
it's going to be a good year at Comic-Con this year, guys. It's going to be a great year.
So some questions. We had a lot of questions in there that we really don't have answers to, or if you re-listen to the chat, they will be answered. One from Nico Holt. If a person wants to stay in Hall H, can you save your seat when a panel ends? So for those who have never been to Comic-Con before, but other conventions, the way Comic-Con handles all of their rooms in the convention center and the two hotels on either side, or at least on the Bayfront. I don't know if they have any panels. No, they do have panels in the Marriott. It is no clearing of rooms. So if you sit down for the first panel of the day and you want to watch every panel in the room that day, you can stay in your seat all day long. So don't worry about whether they're going to kick you out. They won't kick you out till the panels are done.
Yeah, so I do want to say one more thing about that, though. If you want to go to the bathroom, they give you a little ticket, and it's basically marked for that specific panel, so you don't want to be gone too long. So yeah, because you won't be able to get in when they switch over the tickets basically for the next panel. So right. Yes.
And of course, if you are there alone, just talk to the people next to you and ask them to save your seat while you go to the bathroom. Yeah. And do the same for them.
Yeah.
And so this one is just one I wanted to answer because this is kind of what we were thinking of maybe discussing, but this went tied into your article on Marvel and all of the disinformation that was out there, and people saying, what the banners meant for sure, or what D23 year meant for sure. And someone asked, Carrie Vanderberg asked, Grace Randolph said that SDCC was dead and that there are people that are upset that it's coming back. Any guesses why she would say that? And there's one reason why she would say that, and pretty much one reason only, and that's clickbait. She basically wants to get some hits on whatever she's doing, and she wants to stir up some controversy, so she's going to say things that do that. And of course, there are people that are upset it's coming back because there are people out there who don't feel we should have mass events yet. So obviously there's people out there that in general just don't want to have those kind of things. So it's technically true, I guess, but is SDCC dead? No, if it was dead, we wouldn't be going in 3 weeks.
That's right. And look, I don't really want to get too into it, but Grace Randolph is not really known for her journalistic integrity. But let's enter some more questions real quick in the chat. Yeah. Nico Holt asked, any word on a Harley Quinn panel? So yes, there was news of a screening yesterday for the first 2 episodes of the animated Harley Quinn show. It had some really interesting verbiage in it, though. It was the only panel that said, like, this panel is first come, first serve
Right.
about the seating.
And it's the screening of 2 episodes.
Yes.
And typically when Warner Brothers screens something like they do for their WB movies, the DC movies that they do every year, they have the screening, and then whatever time left, they do a Q&A with some of the voice actors.
Yeah.
So I would guess that they might do something like that if they're going to bring some, or it's just a screening. We don't know. I mean, they do that for preview night with the pilots that they show typically, where they just show stuff.
Yep. But again, that verbiage, I'm very curious about that. So it may not be like a normal panel.
It may be, as you mentioned, it may be at the Balboa Theater where they have those ticketed events every year, if they're still using that location.
Yep. I mean, I think it used to be the Horton Grand. Maybe they changed it in 2019, but I don't think the Horton Grand is really functioning right now. So I don't know. I don't know what that is going to look like. But again, that one may not be a normal panel, but TBD. We have some more questions. Nico asks, will there be no signing autographs lottery raffle this year? I mean, Comic-Con hasn't announced it yet. I think we will still be getting all of those. It just hasn't been announced yet. Sylvia asked, will FX have a booth on the floor this year? Their poster tubes and prints were always so awesome. I don't think FX has ever like specifically had a booth. There's a Fox booth, and the Fox booth will be back, and they will have many posters. Any word on an Adult Swim offsite this year? Not yet. Stay tuned. Needy asked, how does the exclusives lottery work? Any idea what will take place? So in a normal year, in 2019, it happened on June 27th. Obviously, that was yesterday. So it didn't happen then. And I think everything right now with Comic-Con is just kind of a little bit delayed, just because, again, everyone everywhere is just slower this year. So my guess is that is still happening, but they haven't announced it. The way that it worked in the past was basically like you had so many points per day, and you could go in and spend them on the items you want, whether that was exclusives from like Lego or a Funko time slot, or a signing with somebody from Fox or whatever. So you could put all of your points towards one thing, or you could split it up between different things. You could do it however you wanted. And then they would hold a random lottery and send you, hey, you won, or no, you got nothing. And I have never won anything. None. James, though, has won quite a bit.
I think I've won every year, at least one thing.
I'm a loser.
I mean, in 1 year it was one thing. So, I mean, it's
that
not
is
like
still
I'm
one more than
things.
me. So good job. Let's see here. David Norwood asked, no announcements from Sci-Fi yet. No, we haven't heard anything from the NBCU people. Any word if Boom Studios has a panel? No, the only comic people who have really announced anything is Image put out their signing schedule, and then we've been slowly getting a look at a couple of the Image exclusives, but that's the only comics news basically at the moment for the big guys. Yeah.
Just looking back, and I didn't see any other questions. So, there we go.
Yeah.
Any chance that Marvel will have Scotty Young pins this year? Well, they do every year for the last few years that they've been in person. So there's a good chance they will. And isn't Scotty Young going to be there this year?
Yeah, Scotty Young is there. He's even signing at Image if you want to go get his signature there. And they're not Scotty Young pens, but we did show off quite a few Marvel pens today with Toy Nick, which we will not get into today, actually, I think. But Toy Nick has 30 plus exclusives, including a whole bunch of pens for Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars. So you can go check that out on our site.
And the question from Nikki is, so is Funkoville filling the room in the convention center, or will there be more booths? I'm thinking the question is regarding the lack of the WB booth. Will Funko fill that space? And we won't know until we see the map and what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, we're assuming that someone will be filling that space. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Someone asked a question, which we will discuss later. So I guess you want to answer the eBay badges question now or when we cover it in a minute?
Let's start going through the news. So both the anime events and the badges, people, stay tuned. We have your answers.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so let's get into the news. And the first thing is something we just discussed, which is Marvel Studios is back at Comic-Con. During the Thor Love and Thunder press conference, Kevin Feige just dropped that, oh yeah, we're coming back to Comic-Con. We don't know, as Germain mentioned, what specifically they're bringing, but James Gunn has responded to tweets about it as a, oh really kind of a thing. So you can basically assume, because James Gunn is kind of free with the teases about things that are happening. So you can expect Guardians at least to be there for sure.
Yeah. And then speaking of panels, we have our list of the announced panels, which is currently at 97. So I am very hopeful that we will cross the 100 till tomorrow. But we had lots of announcements the last couple of days, including some updates. Like we added the cast for Game of Thrones. There's a couple castmates added for Sandman, including James.
What's that?
Who got added to Sandman?
Jenna Coleman?
Yeah, that you guys are very excited about. Yes. So you can find all of that in that post. And then for the person who asked about anime events, Crunchyroll, they are doing a whole lot this year. On Friday, they have a Hall H panel for Dragon Ball Superhero, where they will have both the Japanese voice and the English voice of, I'm not going to say this right, Piccolo. I'm sure that's not right. I'm sorry, guys. And they will also be showing the first 20 minutes of the film. So that's pretty cool. They will also have a Crunchyroll industry panel on Thursday. And then the real news, in my opinion, is they are going to use the Radio Shell, which is the big white thing behind the convention center that was built in the last couple of years for the San Diego Symphony, but Comic-Con will be using it. On Friday, they will have a dance party with a DJ and then a J-girl pop group that, again, I'm not going to try to pronounce, but that is from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. It is free if you have a Comic-Con badge. You can go listen to some cool music outside. You can dance. It'll be fun. And then on Saturday, July 23rd, they have a Dragon Ball Z concert experience and dance party starting at 7 p.m. And it will be the San Diego Symphony. And they will be giving you the senses and sounds of Dragon Ball Z. So that's pretty cool. They will also be wrapping buses, but not the Comic-Con buses, the MTS buses. So you might just see those around.
And speaking of Warner Brothers, who we discussed a little bit, their movie plans, which we don't know anything about, but we know a whole lot of other stuff. First up, they are back doing the bags for Comic-Con. And as we mentioned, there's only 2 images this year. It's a Jim Lee art dual, like multi-character DC comic character image. That's basically, that's the whole image split in 2. So if you want the whole image, you got to get 2 bags. Those are coming out and they're going to be giving those out. And apparently they will also have a QR code on them. Mm-hmm. For 2 QR codes, which will unlock special surprises for fans beginning on Thursday, July 21st. We also have
so many panels.
A few panels.
So many panels.
Like the final Riverdale panel. We have House of the Dragon. And let's see, we have Sandman, which again,
and I real quick, so somebody mentioned earlier, Netflix is there because the Sandman is there, and yes, but it's also typically when something like this comes, like if you notice Warner Brothers Discovery announces, so usually it'll be kind of like split between Warner Brothers and Netflix, like it's not Netflix necessarily. But anyway,
it's the production company is usually the one who's going to be bringing it, not where it's airing, unless the company who is airing it decides they want to, when the production company decides they don't.
Yes, but anyway, I will shut up.
They're also going to be doing a panel for their upcoming series, Gremlins, Secrets of the Mogwai, and of course, as we mentioned, the 2 episodes of Harley Quinn will be screening. They're going to do their annual premiere of the DC movie Green Lantern, Beware My Power. That'll be followed by Q&A. Cartoon Network is going to have a multi-show panel featuring Craig of the Creek, Teen Titans Go, We Bare Bears, and other series. Adult Swim series, Smiling Friends, Gennady Tartakovsky's Primal, Rick and Morty The Vindicators, and Tuca and Birdie will be there. There will be a screening of the Rick and Morty show, and Ali Wong is among those attending for the Tuca and Birdie show. And of course, DC Comics will be there with, I think it's like 5 different panels featuring people such as Jim Lee and Tom Taylor and Tom King.
Yep.
So they're going to do all their usual stuff that they do along all of that. I mean, it's just
So
the
many
usual,
panels. Yeah.
basically, amount of panels that they're going to be bringing.
And there's even more than that. Like there's Sesame Street Mecha Builders. Like, sure. There's all kinds of stuff. There's wrestling. Yeah, just go look at that post if you haven't already. There's a million panels. But I do want to say, I am personally very disappointed that Comic-Con International's cracked down a whole lot more about people announcing days at least on when these panels will be, because it sure is nice, to start to plan schedules further out than 2 weeks. But c'est la vie,
says the planner and scheduler and
yes,
spreadsheeter.
Yes. I mean, literally, this is why I'm here, James, is because I want to plan my schedule as early as I possibly can.
That's right.
That's right. And speaking of me being a scheduler and spreadsheet maker, we put together a packing list for San Diego Comic-Con 2022 that basically includes a lot of items that we think make sense for the convention. Obviously, use your own best judgment. Like, not all items will apply to you, but it's a good idea just to like glance it over, and now is the perfect time to start figuring out what you need to order for the convention. I know I've been ordering a couple of things lately, including even these cute little mini fans that I've got right here that I'm hoping helps in the San Diego heat. Yeah, hoping that helps. So yeah, now is a great time to go buy anything that you're missing.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
And now this is a question that was asked about the eBay badges, and what they're talking about is Comic-Con has listed multiple badges to Comic-Con on their eBay account for Comic-Con. They're 4-day badges with preview night. There's listings for 2 badges and listings for 1 badge. They start them at $360 per badge. And whatever they go for at the end of the 3 days, because I think all of them have been listed for 3 days so far, is whatever you end up paying for 2 badges or 1 badge. And the question was, do they get cheaper as we get closer to the con? And history says, yes, they absolutely do. Currently, as of last night, I think we checked, and they were going for anywhere from $1,500 to $1,800 or $1,900 for 2 badges. And I would say that by the end, 2 badges will probably end up going for somewhere around $800 or $900.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you want to risk it and wait till the end, go ahead and do that. But also, they're listing like 10 to 15 auctions a day.
Yeah.
So they're listing a lot. These are basically all of the returned badges that people turned in from the last couple of years.
Yes, completely agree with James. I mean, by the time this was done in 2019, badges were basically going for maybe twice what they're normally worth, which is still a whole lot more better than 4 to 5 times retail rate. Let's talk about Tops and Garbage Pail Kids. They are doing a trading card giveaway where you will be able to stop by specific booths during the con to pick up free Garbage Pail Kids trading cards. And that is super cool. There is a list of those on our site. So yeah, if you just want an awesome little freebie, there you go.
And Image Comics released their signing schedule, which we have all of the details up, and some of the highlights are Todd McFarlane, Scott Snyder, Scotty Young, Jonathan Hickman and Mike Huddleston, Joe Benitez, Brian K. Vaughan, Cliff Chiang. I mean, just a load of people. The full schedule is up. Some of them are ticketed, which will require you to get a ticket for that in order to even attend. If they don't list a ticket, then it's basically show up and hope you get through before they're done with the signing kind of a thing.
Yeah. And then I also just wanted to mention that Sean Parks and Cons, he did a really cool video guide on the shuttles for San Diego Comic-Con because there are some changes this year as far as the pickup and drop-off points. And then while it is not on this list, and I should have mentioned it when we were doing packing, he also made a video for what is in his backpack basically during the convention. And that is also a super helpful watch. So you should watch that. And then we had a bunch of questions in the chat, which we're going to get to. Headless Ned Stark asked, when will they start to announce who's autographing up in sales? They've already kind of started. Well, individual people have already started to announce, like we posted Gigi Edgley and Sarah Fox and some other actresses and voice actor people. Those are in our Under the Tens. We will also have our annual full list of autograph signings that we compile up in the nearish future. And then CCI typically posts their autograph schedule maybe like a week and a half before the convention. It's for sure after the panel schedule comes out. I know that. But I don't know exactly when they will start to announce that. Mo's 217 asked predictions on which days Hall H will host HBO, House of the Dragon, Marvel, and Amazon Lord of the Rings. I mean, not really. HBO and Game of Thrones was always on what, Friday?
Was it always on Friday?
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
because
wrong.
Westworld was been on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it was Friday.
Yeah, because Game of Thrones and Walking Dead were always a duo
Yeah.
on the same day. Marvel, of course, will be Saturday night. That's basically where they always are.
Yeah. So I think House of the Dragon, I mean, I could totally see that taking over the Game of Thrones spot, but I really have no predictions on beyond that. But yeah, Marvel.
It's a combination of when the studio feels they're going to get the most bang for the buck, and where there's room in Comic-Con, we'll try and like spread out all of the big panels to different days so they're not all packed into one day. So it's just a matter of whether or not they can convince someone to go in on Thursday or Friday or even on Sunday. But Sunday is typically reserved for things like, in the past, Supernatural and now currently Riverdale and some of the other TV shows.
Sir Lister Smeg asked, the passes for the Lord of the Ring offsite, do you for sure get them for doing the offsite, or is it some get them, some don't? Think I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't like what passes for the Lord of the Ring offsite.
Well, there's those fast passes for the House of the Dragons, which we'll be talking about in a minute.
Yeah, maybe that's what you mean. I'm like, nothing really has been announced so far about the Lord of the Rings offsite. So maybe that's what you mean, but we'll get to that here in a minute.
Yeah, both Nico
if you mean
and
House of the Dragon.
Nitty asked about when to line up for Hall H, and we will be discussing that in our schedule podcast when the schedule comes out in, what is it, a week and a half? 2 weeks? Something like that?
Yeah.
It's July.
July
8th and 10th. We're going to have
Friday and Sunday.
Yeah. So July 8th and 10th, we're going to do schedule podcasts for each half of the schedule. And we'll talk about room flow, when we feel like you should line up. And of course, the easy answer for Hall H for Marvel is very, very early.
There is no such thing as too early. So here's the reason why we say this every year and why we're like, we don't really want to discuss like when to line up for a specific panel, is because since they don't clear the rooms, it doesn't just matter like how popular the panel you want to go to is, it matters like what's around it. So like maybe the panel you want to go to, like if it was just by itself, would be a total walk-in, but maybe the panel after it is Marvel. In which case, like, no, you're not just going to be able to walk into that. Like you gotta, so it matters what it looks like around the panel as well, which is why we go room by room and we break it down. But yeah, that will be next Friday and Sunday. Sir Lister of Smeg asked, didn't I read DC doesn't have a booth? And if so, does that mean no exclusives? I mean, I would assume so. Yeah, no booth. So yes. And then
the person and the company that did their exclusives, at least comic versions of some of their exclusives, was Graffiti, and Graffiti is no more.
That is correct. Okay, let's see here.
And we also discuss, while you're looking, about when to line up. We always discuss for getting in the room versus front row, because getting in the room is really all that really matters. And the people who want front row, they know the situation and they know what they have to do. So we always discuss how to get into the room and what we feel is the best to just get into the room to make sure you are there to see it.
Yeah. Okay. The calculator said you're either a Hall H person or exhibit hall person. I mean, I would like to posit that you could also be a ballroom 20 person, but yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for those questions. I did want to mention real quick again, we have a list of commissions up on our site. Commissions are an awesome way to get original art and to get exactly what you want. And there are so many amazing artists that are doing commissions at conventions. You should take a look at that. And then James, why don't you take it away with our new least favorite hashtag?
Our new least favorite hashtag is for House of the Dragon. So they announced more details after that WB press release, and they are going to do an offsite, which actually looks really cool.
It does.
But again, the hashtag is hashtag HOTD SDCC, which everyone is basically reading as hot D SDCC, which means House of the Dragon puts the hot in the D of SDCC. So it's not great. But the offsite is, at least it looks really cool. So they're going to be doing an app where you can hatch a dragon egg. And this offsite, you're going to go through the physical act of getting the egg and then being able to use the app before anyone else to hatch that egg. And you can take it home and take care of it. So
it sounds amazing.
It sounds really cool. They're going to have, of course, a throne room where you can sit on the new era of, this era's Iron Throne for a photo op. Basically, if you've been to the previous Game of Thrones offsites, it sounds like it's going to be a similar thing where you have things where you go from section to section to do something. So you won't basically be waiting in line the entire time to do one thing. So that's pretty cool. And they will have, they said there will be opportunities to get 2 fast passes for the experience at HBO Max drop zones, which will serve as beacons for HBO Max activity across Comic-Con. And in each visit to a drop zone will present attendees with unique giveaways, custom content, swag, VIP seats to screenings, and more. They have no other information about where these drop zones are, when they are, and what really is going to be happening at these.
Yeah.
So
it's probably going to be like random street team kind of thing. But we will see. I just wanted to point out that James in the chat said it's a dragon Tamagotchi. He's not wrong. But it sounds fun.
Yeah.
All right. And then I wanted this next offsite because it has food.
In fact, you have food. Like all of them.
That's right. Yeah, that may have been strategic. So the Filipino-American action comedy Lumpia with a Vengeance is heading to San Diego Comic-Con. And if you have been to any of CCI's other conventions here in the last year, they were also at Special Edition and WonderCon, but now they're bringing their film to San Diego Comic-Con for a screening and a panel. They will have exclusives that they have yet to announce, signing schedule, which they have yet to announce. And they are doing a pop-up at the soon-to-be open Gaslamp Lumpia factory in the Gaslamp, which is literally a Lumpia restaurant that will be in the Gaslamp. And they will be doing a meet and greet with those behind the film. They will have a featured artist TBA, and judging by the icons of their thing, I'm guessing one of those might be Patrick Ballesteros, but we will see. And a special Lumpia with a Vengeance menu. So if you like food and if you're looking for something Comic-Con-y to do Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, check that out.
And we have another offsite with food, and that is the Movies pop-up from Kevin Smith. And this one is already selling time slots for you to get your Movies meal. You have a variety of selections, basically burgers, vegan options, sodas, beer, all kinds of things. The cost is $30 for the basic meal, and then you can have add-ons. And the meal includes one main, one side, and I think a drink, a basic drink. So tickets are available. They're also selling tickets for some of the live podcasts like Fat Man Beyond and Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. I think some of those are already sold out. So
yeah, Fat Man Beyond is, yeah.
So if you want to go see them, you need to go check it out now. Tickets are available. And I think some of the Thursday and Friday slots are filling up pretty fast
Yeah, they
at
tweeted
movies
that.
as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about the D23 Disney Afternoon Mixer.
Let's talk about
Oh
that.
God. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, they are doing a mixer. Yeah. That's cool. The real news here is it seems like they're doing two events. They're doing this Disney Afternoon Mixer and they're doing a Tron party. And it would appear as if they got the date wrong on both.
Both.
They're
Now
0 for 2.
They got the date wrong for the
mixer.
D23 mixer, and they corrected that one like the next day.
After tickets went on sale.
Tickets went on sale. They haven't corrected the Tron one yet, right?
No. So here's the deal. So the Disney Afternoon one was originally scheduled for Saturday, July 23rd, but then they sent an email to ticket holders and said, whoops, it's really on Friday, July 22nd. Sorry. And then they announced the Tron dance party is being on Thursday. Tickets have been on sale for a while, blah, 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 blah. And then late yesterday / today, House of Blues announced a Stranger Things dance party on Thursday. And some people started going, well, wait a minute. That's when the Tron party is. How's that work? So House of Blues doesn't open until 4:30. Some other people got in contact with them. We also got in contact with them, and House of Blues says it is on our schedule for Friday, not Thursday. So it sure sounds like they got the date on that wrong as well. The D23 has not yet corrected that one. So someone is wrong. And based on the track record, I think it might be Disney.
And as Night Bodega says in the chat, it's called the mixer because they mix the days.
I mean, yeah. Like, how do you do this? Like on both? Like one, okay, but both? Come on.
I don't know. So some people have been asking, like, what happened to Graffiti Designs? Well, something happened to them because they aren't really technically in business right now, but they are coming back. Like maybe they went through a bankruptcy or something like that. I don't know the full story, but they basically shut down for a while and they may be back. Their website says watch this space and they're going to be doing some stuff. So Graffiti Designs may be back, but we don't know.
Yeah.
They have gallery editions for sale and that's it.
Yep. Okay. And then I also wanted to talk about the Hello Kitty food truck, which will be back in the Petco Interactive Zone. And just like normal, they will be serving up sweet treats, merch, and more. And it's all super freaking cute. But you can go look at some very adorable photos in our post. Yeah.
And we have other events on the calendar, right?
Yeah, we do. So there's a Save Daredevil party, which I think might be on Friday of Comic-Con. I didn't push that one real hard because I'm always hesitant to sell something out if I don't think you guys are going to go to it, especially if it seems like it's good. So if you are interested in Daredevil, you might go read the description if you have not, because it sounds like a very good party. And it's free, but you have to go get a ticket when it opens. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. And then again, there's a Stranger Thing. I guess it's actually an 80s dance party, even though the 90s club is hosting it at House of Blues on Thursday, supposedly, unless Tron is there. Who knows?
We'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, there's all kinds of offsites on our list. And then I also, hold on.
Sure, you have something cool.
Well, I think it's cool. So there is a fan meetup for Our Flag Means Death on Friday at noon, location TBA, but I worked with Val Hochberg to make some super cute little postcards that we are going to give out. So if you like the show, stop by and get some free swag. And there's going to be other stuff there as well for free. So, woo!
Okay. Whew. Is it time for exclusives?
Yes. Let's get into it.
All right. So first up is one of our special guests for this year, DKE Toys, has announced a few of their exclusives. And we have the Seventh Dimensional Swindle, Beast by Scott Wolowski and Psychedelic. We have the Great Showdowns by Scott C., which I think is hilarious. I love that one.
Yes. It's
We
good.
also have R2 Berry by Yo-Yo-Dine Toy Division with Tim McDonald, and Wham Punks by Edwin Salas. All of these are going to be available. You can see the prices and the editions on the site. Most of them are in the $80 to $100 range with a limited run, usually around 10, up all the way up to 100. So
Yeah.
wide variety of options there.
Yes, for sure. I think that R2 Berry one's really cute.
Yeah, I like the Scott C one, and he always does a great job with this.
Yes, he does. They're fantastic. Let's move on to Symbiote Studios, who have more adorable things with their mascot Catnip Bravo, including a new tote with their rock, paper, scissors, Catnip Bravo, and then a t-shirt. The tote will be $19.99, but the t-shirt in there is also $19.99. It features Catnip Bravo and a Transformer, and then not in here because it got announced like 30 minutes before the show started. But there are also more t-shirts and hoodies that you can find on their site.
I'm thinking of getting that Transformer shirt. That's pretty cool.
It is nice, and they're nice people. I know. I was kind of looking at the t-shirt that they posted just a minute ago, the Hang 10 one. I think that's cute.
And next up, we have Beeline Creative, which is also known as Geeky Tees. And they announced they're going to have a horror mini mug set featuring properties like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Exorcist. They're going to have a Beetlejuice sandworm mug that will be debuting at the con for $35. They're going to have a Sandcrawler Punch Bowl set, which comes with the Sandcrawler and a Jawa mini mug, and the Beetlejuice Handbook for the Recently Deceased mini muglet set, which is pretty awesome.
And real quick, all the items on the top line will not only be at Geeky Tiki's booth, but they will also be at Toy Mix. So there's more places that you can get those. And then let's move on to yesterday's. And the big news with yesterday's is, well, let's start with the Game Boy pens. They have 6 super adorable retro Game Boy pens, which will be $10 each, available in a whole bunch of colors. And then they are doing their pen hunt. So the way that this is going to work is each day of the convention, starting on Wednesday, so many pens, say like 20 or 30, will be available at a specific booth. And you will have to keep an eye on yesterday's social for the clue as to which booth it might be. And then if you can figure it out, you go and you get that silver pen, and you can then go to the booth and exchange it for that rare glitter variant. It'll be a different booth each day of the convention, like I said. So keep an eye on their social, and it's a fun little thing to do.
That's for you exhibit floor people.
Yes, you exhibit floor people. Ooh.
Which
and then
exhibit floor people about a quarter of the time.
Yes. And I guess I can mention the lanyard. The lanyard will be a free gift with any $50 purchase of their booth. So.
And then next up, we have Entertainment Earth, which has started announcing their exclusives. And first up, we have the Thor Love and Thunder mini backpack, which is $69.99. We have the Thor Love and Thunder Raise Your Hammer socks, $9.99. And the Thor Love and Thunder Infinity Cone socks, which are $7.99.
Yep. So Toddland, they have not yet announced all of their exclusives for Bob's Burgers and the Great North and their other booth, because they have 2 this year, but they did tease a couple of items, including these cute little pocket tees for Bob's Burgers and then some the Great North hats. So I think they are hopeful that they will be able to launch pre-orders this week. And then we should have the information on our site, I'm guessing Wednesday or Thursday. And then real quick, I just wanted to mention Graffiti did not go through bankruptcy, just FYI.
They just kind of shut down for a while-ish?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. But next up for the exclusives, we have Monkey Minion and this really awesome Home Again 13 by 19 Jiggly print. It'll be limited to 200 pieces, available at booth 2007. It'll be $50, and we think that pretty much any exclusive that actually features something about the convention itself is awesome, and
so
this one
good.
is really cool.
It's so good. I think that's just gorgeous, and they're the nicest people. I mean, this is high up on my personal list, so I'm hoping I can beat some of you to his booth on Wednesday. But yeah, it looks really good.
And then we have one final Funko that was revealed by Entertainment Weekly, which is this House of the Dragon Alicent Hightower pop, which is on the list of all the shared retailer exclusives, but we didn't know there was no actual release for it. So Entertainment Weekly released it late, basically. Anyway, that's all the pops. So that's it. I did want to show real quick. Oh, wait, there is one more. Just you. I forgot there was one more. So go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So Fat Rabbit Farm, they have some super cute t-shirts, tanks, etc. But one of the coolest things that they do is they do these box sets. So they have two this year. They have a deluxe ice cream set for $45, and it's basically like a build your own, and it will have the exclusive t-shirt, pen, 2 stickers, and a limited edition ice cream box for his Babby character. And then they are also doing a Pandy's Boba box set for $45. And that one will be your choice of a t-shirt, 2 stickers, 1 pen, 1 acrylic keychain, and a pair of socks. And it also comes in a limited edition Boba box with a retail value of over $65. They have some leggings, and you can actually pre-order all of these right now on Fat Rabbit's website for shipping. But those are in very limited quantities. And I think the ice cream box set in particular is just about to sell out. He emailed this morning and said there were only 3 left. So if you want one of those, go grab them. But if not, you can also just go buy them at the booth.
All right. And one last thing is Toy Nick.
I think it's Toy Nick.
All right. So they revealed a bunch of their exclusives right before we went on the podcast, like, I don't know, an hour before or something like that. So I just wanted to real quick scroll through what they have available.
30 plus. Yeah.
Yeah. 30
Amazing.
plus. So we have this Alice in Wonderland teacup, which is really cool looking. Some Naruto stuff. Looks like
Super Mario
shirts, some Garbage Pail Kids playing cards,
and stickers.
Really cool pendants and replica pins and things from Moon Knight and Loki and Doctor Strange. We've got some Hello Kitty Naruto foam clips, some things we don't have, some pins we don't have pictures for yet, but we have some Disney pins like Brave and Ratatouille and Stitch. And
there were almost no photos of any of the pins, guys. But I was like, no, you need photos.
Yeah, Encanto and the TVA from Loki. And this one I think is one of the most hilarious ones, the NYC LARPers from Hawkeye.
I like that one.
We have the Believe one from Loki and the 2-year-old in WandaVision pin, which is
love that
awesome one, and the Groot one.
I love that one too. Yeah, those are
all really awesome. And then the Hello There, of course, from Star Wars and Bo-Katan. And we have some tikis, which is what you mentioned, where the geeky tikis would be available here. Here's one that wasn't available from Beeline yet that we've seen.
I think they probably just haven't announced it yet, but yeah.
And then we have the horror one and the handbook for the recently deceased and
the Sandmore
juice. So that's all of those. That's all of Twink.
Yep.
And we should have pictures of the others at some point, hopefully, and we'll see if they announce anything else.
Yeah. So real quick, I wanted to clarify something. So Lister Smeg said, I think your offsite calendar is wrong. The Save Daredevil meetup is posted on Thursday, and it says pick up tickets Friday morning. Yeah. So the meetup is on Thursday, July 21st, but tickets are available starting this Friday, July 1st. So that's the Friday date, is this Friday. You can RSVP.
All right. So We also have a ton of other exclusives and debuts, including things from Monogram and Patrick Balsteros. Icon Heroes started revealing their exclusives. KRS Comics has some exclusives. Loyal Subjects. The Little Shop of Pins has an awesome Iron Giant pin that's going to be available. Top Cow started releasing some stuff for their 30th anniversary of Cyberforce exclusives. We have some more teases from Nucleus. Hyperactive Monkey announced theirs. JYK All Day has some more. Bill Sinkovich announced at least one of his exclusives, and Alex Ross has some more as well. So tons of exclusives on the site. If you're looking for something, there's plenty of stuff that is going to be available.
Yeah. And then we had a couple questions about the Comic-Con shirts. And I am fairly certain that CCI will be doing pre-orders again for merch because they put in their last Toucan blog to bring your ID to pick up merch. And I'm like, why would you need to pick up merch unless you pre-ordered it? So I suspect they will be opening that up here in the next couple days, hopefully. And hopefully we will get to see what all of that looks like. Some more questions we had real quick is wonder when Bandai is going to announce their exclusives. I don't know. This is pretty early for them. I feel like they normally announce in July. Most of them said, congrats on getting all those sponsors for Prize Mule. Thank you. And yes, it did start as a joke because we had so much extra stuff that I loaded up Sarah, who's on our team. And I said, she said, I feel like a pack mule. And I said, no, you're a Prize Mule.
So the OG Prize Mule was a person.
Was a real person. Yeah. And we took amazing photos of her, like with a bag over her head and all over the convention. It was fun. But now we have the mules. Yeah, it's good. David asked, all the merch retail booths open on preview night? I mean, they should be. I mean,
there's some retailers who might, especially some of the smaller ones, who might get a little lazy and not show up until sometime on Wednesday night or even Thursday morning.
Yeah, but usually that's like an artist who is just like, I just didn't want to get there and set up. It's not usually like the big people.
No, the big booths are set up.
Yes. So we answered this earlier, but Ronan asked if I want to buy a badge from the SDCC museum auctions, will they get cheaper as we get closer to the event or more expensive? Last year, they got considerably cheaper the further out that we went. I mean, the early people are the people who want it the most and have the deepest pockets. So as those people get badges, they're not going to keep buying more, which helps to lower the cost.
Yep. Absolutely. And so obviously there's the eBay option now for the official San Diego Comic-Con listings for badges. But if you want to get one for free, you can check out the San Diego Comic-Con 2022 contest hub on the site and see if there's any contests going for some free badges.
There's not right now, but yeah, in theory you could.
Someday there may be. Actually, there's almost always some local ones from local
radios. Yeah. The radio ones, but yeah, right now there's not. If you would like to be our attendee of the week, you can sign up on our site. We feature a new one each Friday leading up to the convention, and there aren't many Fridays left. So if you want to be featured, get your submission in now. It's a cool way for you to talk about what you love about the convention and to show it off to everybody. And then I also just wanted to mention our Patreon. And we are truly thankful to everyone who is our patron because you guys help keep the lights on. If you saw our hosting bell in July, you would cry. So thank you all very much. And if you are one of our patrons, let me just remind you that we have our patron only podcast tomorrow. So tomorrow. Crazy. Yeah.
We will be back next week.
Yep.
With more news and exclusives and a special guest. Correct, Carrie?
Correct. I confirmed again. But we talked movies this week. So next week, we will be talking TV with Eric Goldman of Fandoms. And he has been on for many years. And we love when he comes on. And it's going to be a good time.
Awesome.
And then you can also sign up for a newsletter, which we send every Tuesday. The link to do that is on the sidebar on our site.
And so I think that wraps it up for this week. So thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you tuning in. Carrie, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Carrie Dixon. And James, where can we find more of your work?
I am everywhere online at Dan Regal, and you can check out geekshotphoto.com for all the photography links and such, and social media links for myself and my wife, Beth, who is the producer of the show. So thank you, Beth, for editing the show, creating the slides, and all the other things that get this podcast into your ears.
Absolutely. We're on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or you can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We're also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes.
And if you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Everybody, thank you all for listening, and go
Shawarma.
hot D.